I welcomes all of you in my YouTube channel Smart Class. Today our topic is to generate prime numbers in Microsoft Excel using Visual Basic Programming language. So for generating the prime numbers in Microsoft Excel, we are going to use the sheet 1 as output. So our output will be shown here on sheet. These are the cells we are using for the output. In every cells our output will be printed and displayed, and we are going to need some couple of things for that. We will insert a button for generating, and we will decorate the sheet so it should look attractive. uh, so users should be attractive regarding that sheet, and should be user friendly as well, and we will put the button for generating the prime numbers. So let's get a start, not waste our much more time. So if you are starting with Microsoft Excel, your sheet should be saved, workbook should be saved as macro enabled workbook. Otherwise you will face problem in writing and running codes. For let's save our sheet, so let's save this, save as. So here choose the option macro enabled workbook, get prime numbers. So let's save on. So let's save on desktop. So I save this sheet on desktop. So let's get a start for that. Insert the button on the sheet and make some decoration here as well. Change the caption for that. For the caption, click here, generate prime numbers. Font, font size, font color, font size. Let's increase the font size, right, and let's make it false. So our size should be, that's much higher. Let's change it to 50. Right? Now it's okay. To generate the prime numbers, and now let's start. So for developer tab, you need to if in your Microsoft Excel developer tab is not visible, then you can go here in Excel options and check the checkbox here to show the developer tab. And once it's visible, you can insert a Visual Basic editor. This is the code editor we are going to use in Microsoft uh, Visual Basic, and that is freely available with the Microsoft Excel workbook, tightly inbuilt, and that uses the name of Visual Basic for application VBA editor. We say that. Let's insert a module here to write a code, piece of code. Let's insert module 1. Change the property as well. For changing the property, select, and property window will be appear for you. Generate prime. That's it. The property. I change the module name. Now let's start. Option. So let's write a integer, generate prime numbers. That is our sub procedure 1. So for in starting I want to clear the contents for sheet 1, and we should be on white sheet, so let's select the sheet first. For doing that, sheet sheets, this is the object, workbook object, and we are going to use the sheet 1, that is the sheet 1. I'm using the name for that. By the way, we can use the index number as well, that is the 0 index for sheet 1. Dot select. So we should be on right sheet. Now clear the contents for cells, whatever written over there. So cells dot clear contents. This line of code clear the contents. Now we are going to need a couple of variables for getting the for identifying the prime numbers, like counter variable and number, and some other counter variables as well. So let's declare some variables. Num, that is the num, as integer. I, this is the counter variable, as integer. J as integer. Count, that is the count we are using and identifying for the prime numbers, as integer. And also we are going to need some other variables for, we are taking the inputs from the user for that. So let's take dim as variant, dim max as variant. So we are taking the minimum and maximum value for numbers from the users. So let's set the cell 1 and row 1 cell 1 value for minimum and maximum number, that is the header for the numbers. Let's put cells row 1 is 1, column 1 is 1 for cell 1, dot value, assign the string, that is the first number, copy and paste for second number, that is the row 1, and column number 2 for next cell, use the second number, last number. So these strings will be available here, and once we run the code, these values will be here. Okay, let's check it out. We can see that in starting, you can see once we click and reset, so it's there. Let's put our breakpoint. Now start code, so we can see that our action sheet is clear, right? So now take the value from user, input box, first number. Let's write some good thing, and for first number, that should make much more sense here. to generate prime numbers. That is the title of our input box. Let's make the enter this value in cells that should be row 2, should be 2, row should be 2, column 1 dot value minimum number, right? So let's assign the value in cell, and now max enter last number to generate prime. That should be same. Let's assign the value in cell 2, and here should be max. Let's run our code and check for the correctness. Now you can see that our first pop-up box here. Let's check it. You can see the 10 is inserted in cell, second cell, first cell, that is the first value, and let's say 20. Okay, we should change the value here. So it's wrong. It should be 2. Now let's run again. So content is clear, 10 and 20. So we can see that our code is correct till now. Let's move ahead and do checking for the prime numbers. So here let's start writing the prime number from the cell 3, third row. So here I'm initializing j for cell value, that should be 2, starting from 2, and we will make the counter semicolon is not allowed in Visual Basic. Now use the loop for that. For we are using the cell value minimum value, let's say number, assign the value from, we are assigning the value from cell number, that is the A2, cell 2.1 to number variable, that is the variable we have declared here, that's 2 till the cells, that is the uh, second row, column number 2 dot value, right? And now next now number, right? So our loop is completed here, the first outer loop. Now we need to set the count variable count to 0, because that will count for the value every time. Once we find any prime number, the non-prime number, the value should be uh, false, true, and control should be thrown out of the loop. So let's say inner loop, that's for this inner loop will check for the count every time. Count set to 0 for here we use the counter variable I, that is the 2, starting from 2 to number minus 1. Every time it will check for value number minus 1 next I. So there should not be a mistake for that. Every time we use the correct closing for that, right? This is the syntax for loop in Visual Basic. Now use the if condition here for that. Now every time it will check for mod value mod I 0, then we should use the same time and if as well, otherwise we will face an error while compiling the program. So in C programming language we use curly braces. Here we don't have curly braces for that, so every time we use any kind of statement or any loop or anything, that we should use and statement. In C programming and other programming language we have corresponding curly braces for that, but unfortunately we don't have curly braces here, so we should always use matching and statement as well, right? So let's say if let's set the count equal to count plus 1 and exit for. So this piece of code will look for the modulus value. Means mod means that here mod returns the remainder after division, and if number is divisible by number other than 1 and itself, if it is divisible by 1 and itself, then only it should be prime number. If it is divisible by more than these two numbers, then counter will be set to true, and in that case the exit statement will thrown out from the for loop, and it will be thrown out from the this for loop only, not from the outer loop. Outer loop will continue till the cell value in the last cell, that is the last number we have input. So every time it will go increase and it will check starting from the 2. So we have initialized the I value from 2 to number minus 1. If I do not write here number minus 1, then our result will not be produced, because every time it will iterate through the number, then number mod i's value become the number here, and that will be uh, equal to 0. That is equal to 0. So every time the counter will be uh, counter plus 1, so counter's value will be true every time, so we will not get the output for that. That is the logic here we are using. Either we can use the divide by 2 as well, or some other thing as well, like minus 3 we can do it. It is not necessary to use the minus 1, what one I'm using, because uh, that is the just prior to the number value, that is the one less from the number value, I iterate through one less. That's why I'm using minus 1. Either we can use -2 and -3, so it will skip for the number less than 2 or 3. So that's it, nothing else. So I used it. And another if we are using here to print the uh, prime number, right? So for that, let's use if count equals 0 and number is not 1, then so here corresponding and if we needed and if, right? So let's print the value in cell. Here the logic, if counter value is 0, uh, counter value will be 0 in case of the prime number only, because uh, let's check it out. Let's check it out. Put the breakpoint here in for loop and start debugging it. Let's see what happens. Let's put 1 and 10. If we want to find out the prime number, let's check for the counter value. Here we can see that the breakpoint stops and wait for the variables. Let's see. So here we can see that the minimum number is 1. We can see the variable initialize, and the last value we have j value we have assigned, and we also assign the max value is 10 as well, right? So let's step in. Let's step into and increase the size so we can see that the values clearly. Now the counter, we can see that counter is set to 0, and number value is 1, number value is 1 and 2, and here we can see that uh, the counter will be thrown out from this loop because 1 minus 1 is 0, and that's the false condition. So this piece of codes will not execute here. Let's see. So we can see this the counter thrown out from the loop because number minus 1 becomes the 0. And let's move ahead next time. Now step for the next. So next number, this time the number value is 2. We can see that the number increases to 2. So let's move, and now again the 2 to 1. So this time the this is also thrown out from the loop, so it is still the 0. So let's move ahead next time, and this time the number value is 3, and this time for loop will execute this time because 3 minus 1 is 2, so at least one time the condition is met. So this time the control moves in, and now it checks for the modulus value here. The number is 3, and I, the value of I is 2, and mod uh, 3 mod 2 is not equal to 0. That's a false. In that case, uh, the false, it's not true here as well. So in that case the counter will be thrown out from the loop because this exit for will thrown out, and counter remains the 0 here as well. So we can see that this piece of code will not execute here, and here and if statement will throw forward the control to the next statement. Here we can see that our this piece of code will execute. So Let's reset the code and we can see the how the program is working and the logic behind it. Now we can see that we want to increase the value of j variable to 1 y1 this time, and print the value in cell. So cell, there is the j, and this time j initialized to 2, and a column should be 1 every time. Dot value equal to number. So we are printing the value number, right? So now let's see. Uh, let's check it out. So here something is wrong. We can see that every time it is printing one, at least it is printing for the prime number, what not the, it's repeating the number, right? So let's see what's the mistake here. Okay, so this should not be written in this uh, uh, in this for loop. It should not be right because this is the 3 times this is generating every time. So let's it should be out of the, this statement should be out of this, right? We should keep in mind that placement of code should be at correct place, otherwise you will not get the correct result, and result might be disastrous for you. So I hope this time it will run correctly. Let's check it out again. So this time we can see that the uh, prime numbers are printed correctly. 2, 3, 5 and 7, these are the prime numbers, we can see that. And this code is, if we want to print the non-prime numbers here in this column, we can do that as well. Let's do it. So our code will be precise and perfect. Else here we can use the else statement for that. Else cell cells, this time we need another counter variable for that, and we are using the, no, counter variable should not yes, that's the another counter variable we are going to need for that. Let's declare another variable as well, this time k as integer, right? And let's assign the value for k as well. Right, so we assign the value for k as well. Now here in else cells, we are using the k for row index, right? Row index, and value for non-prime numbers should be in the second column, that is the 2 dot value. So non-prime numbers should be printed in the second column. Let's check it out again. So some mistakes are here, I believe. And if that should be out of the right, and that is the part of the outer box. That's due to the I have the habit of writing using curly braces, and unfortunately we don't have the curly braces in VBA. That's why mistakes are likely to happen. Right. So let's start. So if we let's debug this program. So we can see that the prime numbers are printing correctly, 11, 13, and that's all the prime numbers. Let's give the some gaps here from fourth column, using from the fourth column. Assign the value 3, 3. So let's run again. So we can see that the prime numbers are generated between 10 to 200. But if we want to print the non-prime number, for printing the non-prime number, we check for the counter here, uh, and for else if we need to check for that, else here, else that should be k, comma 1 should be 2, right? Dot none, and here increase the value of k, plus 1. Assign the value of k to 3. Okay, so we can see that the non-prime numbers are printed here and the prime numbers are printed here. So this piece of code is working perfectly, and I hope you enjoyed this programming. If you find any value, please share and subscribe. Okay, so one more thing we left here is to using the uh, click here to generate the prime number. So this uh, clickable button is not working, so let's work on this here as well. So we can call the uh, sub procedure here, that is our sub procedure, right? The name of our sub procedure, click on that and call in our sheet, okay, using the all word, that is the call sub procedure. So now we can run this piece of code using this clickable button. So let's check it out. So we can see that the prime numbers are here and non-prime numbers are printed here, and our click button is working. That's all for today, and if I can debug this program again, and if you have query question, so comment in below, and feel free to ask question. I will reply you if you have any query or question. And that's all. We can again, you can see that the code here, this is the file code I have write to generate prime numbers, couple of variables and declaration as well, and I have shown you how this program